The Deathworld Alliance was the most powerful force in the galaxy. It was made of many different alien species, all from dangerous planets called Deathworlds. These worlds were full of storms, poison air, monsters, and volcanoes. Only the strongest could live there. The species from these planets were warriors by nature. They believed no enemy could beat them. For many years, the Alliance ruled the outer parts of the galaxy. They destroyed pirates, hunted space beasts, and kept control with fear. Every race feared them. Even the peaceful ones obeyed the rules without question. The Alliance thought no one could challenge their power. But then something strange happened. One day, a black ship appeared near the edge of Alliance space. It didn't come fast. It didn't send any message. It just came from the deep, dark part of space where no one lived. The ship had no flags, no lights, and no name. It didn't look like a normal ship. Its shape was not round, not flat. It was sharp, broken-looking, almost like it was made by something not alive. The first patrol ship that saw it tried to contact it. Unidentified vessel, this is Alliance Patrol Ship Gamma 12. State your purpose. There was no reply. Gamma 12 moved closer. Its scanners tried to scan the black ship. The results made no sense. The metal was unknown. The size kept changing. The energy levels were off the charts. Then, the patrol ship disappeared. No warning. No explosion. Just silence. The Alliance thought it was a mistake. Maybe an engine failed, maybe the crew made an error, so they sent 2 more ships. Both vanished too. Now the leaders of the Alliance were worried. This had never happened before. They gathered at the Central War Station, a huge space station orbiting the gas giant Zeltor. 3 ships gone, said Commander Jarn of the Roctal species, who had 8 eyes and a voice like grinding stone. This is not normal. Something is wrong. High Warden Talvar, the leader of the Alliance, stood quietly. He was from the cold world Vaskra, where the sun never rose. His skin was silver, and his eyes glowed red. "Show me the last signal," Talvar said. A tech officer opened the final video sent by a drone near the black ship. It played on a large screen. The ship was still floating silently in space. There was no sound except a strange low hum like a heartbeat. Then the camera zoomed in. On the side of the black ship were words written in an old language. Latin. Talvar leaned forward. He read it slowly. Ultimum humanitas. Human? Yarn said, confused. But humans are dead. Earth was destroyed during the Orion burn over 300 years ago. No one survived. That's what we believed, Talvar said. But this ship says otherwise. Some of the leaders laughed nervously. It must be a trick, said one. Maybe someone is pretending to be human. But Talvar didn't laugh. He stared at the screen with cold, calm eyes. We thought Earth was finished. We thought the humans died with their world. But what if we were wrong? What if something survived? The room went quiet. What do you suggest? Yarn asked. We send a fleet, Talvar said. Our best ships, our strongest fighters. We will find out what this ship is. And if it is a threat, we will destroy it. Outside the station, the stars continued to shine. But far away, in the dark corners of the galaxy, the black ship waited. Silent, watching, unmoving, and still it did not speak. The fleet was ready. 10 of the Alliance's strongest warships flew together through space. Their weapons were fully charged. Their shields were at maximum power. Each ship carried hundreds of trained soldiers from Deathworlds. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were survivors of poison skies, acid oceans, and firestorms. They had faced monsters on their home planets. They were fearless. At the front of the fleet was the Heskar Ultima, the largest and deadliest ship in Alliance history. It looked like a floating fortress, covered in guns and thick armor. High Warden Talvar stood on the bridge of the Ultima, watching the stars through the glass. Time to contact the black ship again, said the communication officer. Try, Talvar ordered. A message was sent in all known languages. This is the Deathworld Alliance fleet. Identify yourself. If you are human, show proof. If you are enemy, prepare for destruction. They waited. No answer. Still no signal, the officer said. It's like nothing is there. Talvar narrowed his eyes. That ship is not dead. It's watching us. The fleet moved closer. The black ship was floating near a red dwarf, star completely still. It looked quiet, but wrong. Its shape did not follow normal design. Some parts were long, thin, sharp like knives. Other parts were thick and twisted, almost like they were grown, not built. It looked like a ghost from a nightmare. Suddenly, the lights on the Alliance ships flickered. "What's happening?" a pilot shouted. "All systems, lagging. Shields are dropping," someone reported. "Restore power," Talvar shouted. But then they heard it. A sound. It didn't come through the speakers. It came through the walls, the floor, the metal itself. A deep, slow, steady sound, like a heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Soldiers looked at each other. Some stepped back. Even Deathworlders used to fear felt something new. This wasn't battle fear. This was the fear of the unknown. The sound grew louder. Then a voice came. It was male, calm, cold, human. "You should not have come." Everyone on the bridge froze. "It is human," the officer whispered. "But how?" Talvar stepped forward. "This is High Warden Talvar. Earth was destroyed. Who are you?" The voice replied, "Earth changed. We were forced to survive without you. Now we return. You ruled while we slept. Now we wake." Without warning, a bolt of black light fired from the strange ship. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. It folded the space around one of the Alliance cruisers. In a second, the cruiser disappeared, not destroyed. "Erased. Open fire," Talvar shouted. The fleet fired all weapons, blue plasma, red lasers, gravity bombs, everything they had. Nothing touched the black ship. The blasts bent away or vanished before impact. Some even circled back and hit the Alliance ships themselves. "What kind of defense is that?" one officer cried. Talvar clenched his fists. "This is not normal technology. This is beyond anything we know." Another ship vanished. Then another. Panic spread through the fleet. Orders became screams. One by one, ships were silenced. On the bridge of the Ultima, Talvar stood still. He looked at the black ship and said quietly, "This is not just a survivor, this is something reborn." The human voice returned. "You ended Earth. Now Earth ends you." And then everything went dark. The Heskar Ultima shook with heavy force. Red warning lights flashed across the bridge. Smoke filled the air as officers shouted over each other. Most of the Alliance fleet was gone. Only 3 ships remained. None could reach the black ship, and none could hurt it. High Warden Talvar stood strong, his silver skin glowing in the emergency lights. He watched the black ship on the screen. It hadn't moved. It just floated there like a sleeping god, cold, dark, and alive. "Damage report," Talvar ordered. "We've lost outer weapons, half our shields, and 2 engine cores," said the engineer. "Any chance of escape?" "No, Warden. The ship is jamming all jump drives. We are trapped." Suddenly the lights flickered again. The humming sound returned, louder this time. It made everyone's teeth ache. Then silence. The crew looked at each other. Even the machines had gone quiet. No engines, no air systems, no computers, just the sound of breathing. Then the alarms screamed. "Boarding detected," someone shouted. "Unknown life forms on lower decks." "Security. Teams respond," Talvar yelled. Soldiers in black armor ran through the halls of the Ultima. They were trained to fight anything. They had killed beasts with acid skin and survived explosions. But what they saw next froze them. Figures moved. Through the corridors, tall, fast, and silent. They looked human, but not normal. Their bodies were too perfect. Their armor had no seams or screws. It looked like it had grown around their skin. Their eyes glowed blue and they didn't carry guns. They didn't need to. One soldier fired at the nearest figure. The shot hit, but nothing happened. The figure raised its hand and the soldier's weapon melted. Another reached forward, just one touch, and the wall turned to dust. "Fall back! Fall back!" a commander screamed. But it was too late. On the bridge, Talvar saw the security feed. Go dark screen by screen. His officers looked at him. "What are they?" one whispered. The door opened. A single figure stepped onto the bridge. It looked human. A man, tall, broad, armored in black. His face was calm. His eyes were glowing like stars. He didn't carry any weapon. He didn't need one. Talvar stepped forward. "Are you human?" The man nodded. "We were human. We became more." "Why attack us?" Talvar asked. "We did not start this war." The man looked at him. "You let Earth die. You turned away. You watched and did nothing. Then you took what we left behind. You built your alliance from the ruins of our world." "That was centuries ago," Talvar said. "We thought you were gone." "We were silent," the man replied. "Not dead. We learned. We evolved. We built one ship, one purpose. We are not an army. We are judgment." Talvar tried to remain strong, but something about the man made it hard to speak. He wasn't angry. He wasn't shouting. He was calm, and that made him even more terrifying. "What will you do now?" Talvar asked. The man looked around the bridge. "This ship will be spared, so you can tell the galaxy what happened here." "Why let us live?" "Because fear is louder than death." With that, the man raised his hand. A blue pulse filled the room. Everyone fell unconscious. When Talvar woke up, the black ship was gone. The rest of the fleet was destroyed. Only the Heskar Ultima remained, floating in the void. And now, Talvar understood. This was not just a weapon. It was a message. Earth was back. The Heskar. Ultima floated in space like a ghost. Its engines were silent. Most systems were dead. The stars outside were calm, but inside the crew was shaken. High Warden Talvar sat alone in the command chamber. His face was pale. His hands trembled slightly. Something that had never happened before. He had fought many wars. He had seen whole planets burn, but nothing had ever made him feel like this. He looked at the words now burned into the screen in front of him. "We are the last of Earth. We do not forget." The message had been left by the strange human figure before he vanished. No ship had been seen leaving. No signal had been tracked. It was like the black ship had never been there, but it had, and now Talvar had to tell the galaxy. The ship's long-range beacon still worked. Talvar activated it and recorded his voice. "To all Alliance forces, this is High Warden Talvar. We have encountered a human warship, but it is not like anything we have ever seen. It erased our fleet without effort. It entered our ship without resistance. Its weapons are beyond understanding. These humans are no longer what we remember. They have changed. They have evolved. They speak of revenge, and they have not forgotten the fall of Earth. Be warned, the black ship is real. It is not a myth, and it is only the beginning." He sent the message across all channels. It would reach every planet, every station, every fleet in the Alliance. He leaned back in his chair, tired. His people needed to prepare. The galaxy was no longer safe. On the far planet of Zenithra Prime, a wealthy trade world filled with tall cities and shining towers, the message played in front of the High Council. Many laughed. "Humans, alive?" one elder said. "Impossible. It's just a trick. A lost AI ship pretending to be human," said another. But one council member did not laugh. She was old and quiet, with a robotic eye and many battle scars. Her name was Mira Soth. She had once fought near Earth during the Orion burn. "I saw the sky turn black," she said softly. "I saw Earth scream as fire covered it. We thought they were gone. But I remember something." Everyone turned to her. They didn't. Die easy, they fought until the last second. Even the dying ones tried to pull down their enemies. We feared them back then. And maybe we were right. No one spoke after that. On the mining moon Drask 4, where workers dug deep into fire rock, the message also arrived. Miners stopped working. Machines paused. Everyone gathered around the speaker as Talvar's voice played. Did he say humans? One worker whispered. They're supposed to be extinct. Well, maybe they were. Now they're not. Fear began to grow. Across the galaxy, the same reaction spread. Shock, fear, disbelief, and then questions. What did the humans want? Were more ships coming? Could they be reasoned with? But the black ship gave no answers. Far away, deep beyond known space, the black ship floated in a quiet system with no name. Inside, humans moved silently. Their skin was pale, their eyes bright with strange light. Some were part machine, some had no flesh at all. Yet they worked together like one mind. In the center of the ship, the man who had spoken to Talvar stood before a glowing map of the galaxy. He pointed to a new system. Next, he said. One by one, lights began to blink on the map. Each a target. Each a place that had once stood by while Earth died. The black ship began to move again, slowly, silently, like a shadow from the past, and this time, it wasn't coming to warn anyone. The planet Veltrax 9 was famous across the galaxy. It had giant cities made of glass and steel. Its skies were filled with floating ships. Lights never turned off. Music played day and night. It was rich, proud, and safe, or so its people believed. No one expected war to come here. But it did. It began, with a shadow. One evening, a strange black shape appeared above the upper atmosphere. It didn't look like a normal ship. It was too big, too quiet. No ID, no signal. The Sky Watchers called it the Silent Star. At first, no one worried. Government leaders told the public to stay calm. Just a passing object. Maybe an old satellite. Nothing dangerous, they said. But then the satellites stopped working. Communication towers shut down. Power grids failed. One by one, the systems that kept Veltrax 9 alive began to die. Within an hour, the entire planet was dark. And then, the black ship came closer. It didn't shoot. It didn't speak. It simply opened. From it, hundreds of dark figures dropped silently into the air. No engines, no wings. They just fell, fast and straight, like meteors. They hit the ground without making sound. Then they started walking. People screamed. Soldiers ran to stop them. Tanks fired. Plasma cannons roared. But nothing worked. The black figures were not slowed. Bullets passed through them like mist. Energy blasts bent away. One touch from their hands melted metal. Veltrax 9 had a strong army. Elite troopers, AI drones, war machines, all destroyed within minutes. In the capital city, Commander Retton of the Veltrax Defense Corps watched in horror from the command tower. They're everywhere, his officer shouted. They're not stopping. Where are they coming from? Retton asked. We don't know, they're just appearing. The screen showed one of the black figures standing in a square. Around it, people were frozen in place, unable to move. Then, the figure raised its hand. A pulse of blue light flashed. Everything in the square turned to ash. Retton took a step back. This isn't war, he whispered. This is punishment. Far above, on the black ship, the same human figure who met Talvar stood in silence. His name was not known. He had no rank or medal, but all others on the ship followed him. Beside him, a young one asked, "Why this planet first?" They laughed when Earth burned, the leader said. They mined our ruins. They sold our history. They called us weak. But they're not soldiers, the young one said. They're civilians. The leader didn't blink. So were we. The young one said nothing more. The leader looked down at the planet. Fires now covered its surface. Black ash floated into space. Cities that once held music now held silence. Back on the planet, Commander Retton knew it was over. He sent one last message to the galaxy. This is Veltrax 9. We are under attack by something we don't understand. We tried everything. Nothing works. If you hear this, and do not fight, do not wait, run. That was the last signal anyone received from Veltrax 9. Hours later, the planet was quiet. No voices, no movement, no life. The black ship rose again, slowly, without a sound. It left nothing behind. Another world had fallen, and across the galaxy, people finally understood. The humans had returned, not for peace, not for talks, but for justice. And they were just getting started. The fall of Veltrax 9 shocked the galaxy. It had been one of the most powerful planets in the Alliance, and now it was gone. Not just destroyed, but erased. There were no survivors, no ruins, no answers. Only silence. The message from Commander Retton played across hundreds of worlds. Do not fight. Do not wait. Run. Leaders everywhere began to panic. On the Alliance capital world Zerion Prime, an emergency council was called. Inside a great hall of steel and glass, the top rulers of the galaxy gathered. There were 10 of them. Different species, different systems, but all filled with fear. High Warden Talvar sat at the head of the table. His face was hard, his voice calm, but his eyes showed he had seen something no one else had. We cannot stop them, he said. Others shouted at once, we must try. They're only one ship. They're just humans. No, Talvar said firmly. They were humans. Not anymore. He pressed a button, and a screen showed the black ship floating above Veltrax 9. Then it showed what came after. The dark figures, the blue pulse, the silence. They don't use armies, he said. They don't speak. They don't ask. They just arrive, and when they leave, nothing is left. A cold silence filled the room. One counselor, a pale lizard-like being named Sereth, leaned forward. But why now? Why attack after so many years? Because we forgot them, said Talvar. They didn't forget us, Sereth hissed. So what do? Beg for peace? No, Talvar replied. We prepare, we run, we warn the rest of the galaxy. Run? Are you a coward? I fought them, Talvar said quietly. You did not. If you had seen what I saw, you would not call it cowardice. You would call it survival. Far away, on a jungle world named Thenaro, a different kind of meeting was happening. A group of rebels had gathered in an old ruin. They were outcasts, smugglers, pirates, lost soldiers. They called themselves the Broken Flame. Their leader, a human, woman named Kara Vex, listened to the news from Veltrax 9 with wide eyes. They're alive, she whispered. Humans are alive. Her second in command, a scarred alien named Boric, frowned. You don't sound happy. Kara stood up. I was born on a ship that fled Earth. My parents died in the Orion burn. I never thought anyone survived down there. But these humans, they aren't your kind anymore. Kara looked at him. Maybe not, but they're doing what no one else dared. They're making the galaxy afraid. That means something. Boric crossed his arms. So what now? Kara smiled slowly. We find them. What? Are you mad? No. I'm curious. I want to see who they became. And maybe they'll need someone who still remembers the old Earth. In deep space, the black ship moved again. Its engines made no sound. Its path could not be tracked. It traveled through folds in space no one else could see. Inside the command chamber, the glowing map showed its next target. Rovan Station, a massive trade hub between 3 star systems. The young one stood beside the leader again. More are noticing us, he said. Some are running. Some are preparing weapons. The leader looked at the map. They still think like rulers, he said. They don't understand. Understand what? That we are not here to conquer. The young one frowned. Then, what are we here for? The leader turned his glowing eyes toward the stars. To finish the story, deep in an uncharted system, a cold, dead planet floated alone. Its surface was broken, its air was poison. Storms of ash moved across old mountains. This was Earth, or what was left of it. Nothing lived here. At least that's what the galaxy believed. But under the surface, far below the ruins, there was still life. The black ship returned home. It landed in a hidden crater. Doors opened. The silent humans walked out, their black armor glowing faintly in the dust. This was their final mission, not to attack, not to destroy, but to remember. Inside, the main chamber deep underground, the leader stood before a giant wall filled with names, millions of names, of humans who died when Earth fell. He reached out and placed his hand on the stone. "We are here," he said softly. "We never forgot you." Behind him, the other evolved humans stood in silence. They had destroyed the Alliance's pride. They had erased Veltrax 9. They had made the galaxy fear their name, and now they had returned to where it all began. Far away, on Zerion Prime, High Warden Talvar watched the final message from the black ship. It was not a threat. It was a story. Images showed Earth before the fall, oceans, cities, children playing, families smiling. Then came the fire. Then the silence. The message ended with just 5 words. "We remember what you forgot." Talvar stood for a long time, alone, thinking. He knew the Alliance could not fight these humans, not with ships, not with armies, not with fear, because this wasn't about war anymore, it was about truth. And the truth was, Earth had been left to die while the galaxy watched. Now Earth had risen again, not to conquer, but to remind the stars of what they had done. On the black ship, the young one asked the leader one last question. "Is this the end?" The leader looked out at the dead world. "No. This is the beginning." Beginning of what? Of remembering. Of change. We were made in fire. We were shaped by silence. But now, the galaxy listens. What if they attack again? The leader turned slowly. Then they will face the full strength of a planet they tried to erase. The young one smiled. "Earth stands, always," the leader said. Somewhere in the stars, Karavex watched the message too. She placed her hand on her ship's window and whispered, "Welcome back." She didn't know where Earth would go next. But she knew one thing. The humans had returned, stronger, stranger, and unbroken. Across the galaxy, a change had begun. Some ran in fear, some prepared for war. But others began to ask questions. Why had they let Earth die? Why had they taken its ruins for profit? And now that the last humans had returned, what would the galaxy become? No one knew. But one thing was certain. The story of Earth was not over. It had only just begun.